Well, by all accounts, this video summit does seem to have gone better than the previous one. At the previous one, there was so much disagreement over this issue of corona bonds, of collectivizing debt, that the Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte refused to sign off on a joint statement. Tonight, he's posted on Facebook that there was real agreement here tonight. Now, what they've agreed may not sound like much, but it could be the framework for the biggest infusion of cash, I think, seen anywhere on the globe ever. What they have agreed to is to have a recovery fund, which according to French President Macron will be between 5% and 10% of total European GDP, and that fund will be part of the next long-term EU budget. That is the MFF, the multi-annual financial framework that lasts from 2021 till 2027. They've tasked the European Commission to come out with a new proposal for that long-term budget because there was already a proposal sitting there. They just happen to have not agreed on it yet. And the Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said after tonight's video summit that will come in mid-May. We're hearing possibly as early as May 6th. And that will be the starting point for negotiations. But of course, what they could not agree tonight, and what I'm told they kind of stayed away from tonight, was the issue of how that fund will be financed. The big question is whether it will be through loans or grants. Spain has been floating this idea of perpetual debt, which may sound like a bad thing, but it actually means debt that would never have to be repaid. In other words, a grant. French President Macron saying after the summit that really having this all financed through loans that countries would have to pay back would be obscene. But of course, countries in Northern Europe, the typical frugal countries, Netherlands, Germany, they're not so hot on this idea of grants to finance this mechanism. So that's the really thorny negotiations that are yet to come.
And of course, the how is the trillion-euro question. This does, of course, reopen wounds about the previous debt crisis. How damaging is it to European solidarity?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the themes of the previous debt crisis are returning here. Of course, this north-south divide and the question over what was known back then as Eurobonds, now we're calling Corona bonds. This has brought a lot of the old ill will back to the surface. But tonight we did seem to be seeing a bit of a kumbaya moment. The tempers don't seem to be flaring as much as they were in the previous weeks. And they have agreed quite a lot already. They've agreed €500 billion in spending because, of course, this recovery fund that they're talking about, it wouldn't take effect until 2021. But in the meantime, they have agreed this $500 billion in employment guarantees to keep people getting paychecks, for loans from the European Investment Bank to go to businesses, and for borrowing from the European Stability Mechanism. That's going to be operational, we're being told, by June 1st. Angela Merkel, German Chancellor, is particularly insistent that money has to be available June 1st. So there is a lot of money already agreed, but even Commission President von der Leyen said tonight, she acknowledged that the money agreed so far just isn't going to be enough when you look at the sheer scale of this crisis and the economic catastrophe it's expected to cause. So the big focus now is going to be on, like you said, that trillion-euro question. But of course, that money isn't going to start being spent until 2021. It shows just how many years the effects of this crisis are going to be with us.
Thank you very much, Dave Keating, our Brussels correspondent there. And we look forward to May the 6th when the European Commission will come through